distance, but you is you. Want you, I need you, come don't take this beautiful thing that I've got. Please stop. There's no rain, is there a forest? No one stands to lose. Oh, lose. Yes. What do I need your God? This beautiful river of God is day. How fun you be do 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 do. Oh, please don't take. I found my mind, I'm feeling sane. It's been a while since I ate my thing. And everything goes. Do I have to wait till it's gone? I got my family at want. I got a girl my parents love. She gonna stay out and I think I might have it. Oh, please stay. I don't need your don't stay. It's beautiful thing that oh, 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 oh. Sasagio, Sasagio, Shizo, Sasagio, Sumo, Izabari, I want you, I need you, God, don't take this beautiful thing that I got. God, please stay. I will need you, God, don't take beautiful thing that I got. No, delicado. From my mind, I can say it's been a while since I was talking about that. Tumba. I found my mind. She probably started another nothing from what please. Rotate. Midton day dapat bugok. Midton dapat isugod. Yellowish. Ay. Midton tapos start. Saktong singali. Paugahin sa natin. Regular food hindi na. Wow, what an art. Siguro pa ka. Wow, masang dapat may grabe langit. dapat kebikutan. Sore kung buktikan aku ang puti ang laman. Para makantin masulay na kulot. Masulay na kulot. Wiston patul Wiston. How would I do this? Francis Magalona. It's beautiful things that I've got. Please stay. I need you, God. Don't change. Please don't change. How come my mind feeling safe? It's been a while since I was away. Everything goes along till it's home. 僕の罪いららってto myself. That we get it. Pull up a minutes 45.
All healing comes from inside ourselves. We have the physician on the outside and the physician on the inside, and all healing is based on love. We really don't understand our own power. See, I have this kind of idea that when God created this earth, whoever God is to whoever you are, created the earth and it was beautiful and everything was in place and the way it should be. But then he created the human being and he said to us, now you are the only creatures that have the right to choose and have free will. So therefore, I give you dominion over the earth. And we decided that what he meant by dominion was dominance. And so we've taken over the earth and done what we darn well choose with it.
Time for groceries at your door, in your fridge. Easy peasy. Order Food Panda now.
And look where we are. So it's that reality, the inner part of us, we're all reaching for our true humanity. And that true humanity understands that we are the ones who do the healing. See, I've come up with what I call 5 L's. The first one is life and love. Without life, there's nothing, you know. You can be a seed in the Great Pyramid for 5,000 years and nothing happens until love, which is light and water and so on, softens the shell and the seed opens up and it grows. Life and love are one unit. They work together. It's like a pregnancy. When a mother is pregnant, she and that baby are one unit. What she eats, the baby eats. What she thinks, the baby thinks. It's a constant process. But that aspect of reality that is that baby that is being nurtured and grown within the womb doesn't really find its own identity until it takes its first breath. So it's this reality that life and love are one unit. As we work with each other that way, we can really understand aspects of ourselves, but aspects of the world around us and aspects of other people too. The first L was life and love. So those two came together and I understood those. But the third one was laughter. Laughter without love is cruel. It's mean. It takes families apart. It has caused wars, you know. Laughter can be cruel, but laughter with love is joy and happiness. The fourth L is labor. Labor without love is drudgery. You just gotta go to work. You just gotta do this. But labor with love is bliss. It's why you singers sing, why painters paint. It's why I do what I do. It's why you do what you do. It's what makes our hearts sing. It's that inner aspect of our being that comes alive, and we'll work 5 times as hard as we were when we were dragging ourselves along with the drudgery thing. And the fifth one is listening. Listening without love is empty sound. It just doesn't make any sense. You don't understand. But listening with love is understanding. So these 5 L's have been very helpful for me in structuring and understanding the philosophy and the lives that I'm working with.
And you've been a teacher, you've been a doctor, but you've been writing books, and you've just put out a new book, The Well-Lived Life, where you share 6 secrets. What do you hope people learn from that book?
I hope they really understand love being the teacher and love being the essence of healing. My spirit needs to bear witness with thy spirit. We need to let the energy of our being move and help, and as we help others, we help ourselves. It's that life flow that is so essential.
Sa Sardo, Bing, but something starts to release in 5 minutes. Ouch, ouch, oh no, we're back a month. Lahat is panis. Sila bang headache, lahat ng
Spend time looking for what I call the light. You know, I kind of see myself walking along with a flashlight in the dark on my path, and it's dark, and I can just go as far as my flashlight takes me. But as I'm walking along, sometimes on the side of the path, there's a light that is not very bright. It's just kind of shimmering. If I shine my light over there, all of a sudden that light becomes great. In other words, as we reach out for each other, just with whatever we have, whatever the opportunity is, and you use it and you work forward with it, you're helping people in ways that you know not.
I understand that you had a chance to meet one of history's greatest teachers. You met Gandhi at one point. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I was 10 years old. We were leaving India. We were in the train and leaving Roorkee to go to Bombay. And I was really sad because I didn't want to leave India. And I knew I had to. And so I'm sitting in the train with my face plastered against the window, really looking out. In India, there are always crowds of people. But there were crowds of people here. But there was a man walking in front of this crowd, and he had on a dhoti and a staff, and I recognized him as Gandhi, and he was just walking along, and when he came into my sight, and he reached down, a little girl was handing him a flower. He took the flower, and as he looked up, he looked straight into my eyes, and I looked into his, and something happened. I can't explain to you what happened. I can't explain to anybody. I can't even explain it to myself. But I felt a connection of love that was really, really important to me. That was just a moment. I watched him go on with the Salt March that he was doing and so on. 30 years later, my parents were working with Gandhi as India was torn apart with the partition. Hindus and Mohammedans killing each other. It was just awful. And my parents had their little medical jeep, and they took it around to camps and did what they could. When Gandhi was speaking, my dad would get up on the platform with him, and they would talk together to the people. And Gandhi and my mother and father formed a friendship. Gandhi gave my mother a cashmere blue shawl, and my dad a Panipat blanket. It was a close enough relationship in the family that this was being done. So I feel that spark was started when I was 10 years old, and our family connection kept that going. It's recognizing when something like that happens and not shoving it under the carpet, because those are the things happen. I've looked at people sometimes and been able to feel that, and I don't even know who they are. I recognized Gandhi, but there are a lot of people who seem lost and so on. And if you can smile at them and speak to them and recognize them, people are waiting to be recognized. That's what Gandhi did when he looked at me and I looked at him. I recognized him and he recognized me. And that's still with me. This ability to really recognize each other as real people, living beings that are in the same world as we are. That love flows. And love has to keep on flowing or it dies.
What do you hope your legacy is?
That love is what really matters. When you get down to the basic central aspect of what healing is all about, it's about love and life.
Now, I think one of the conventions by which we tend to be fooled more than almost any other is time. And for all human beings, time is a matter of extraordinary importance. And perhaps this is one of the principal ways in which we differ from animals. Because man has been called a time-binding animal. Life moves from the past to the future in such a way that what happens now and what will happen is always the result of what has happened in the past, except occasionally by accident. Some people get a glimpse that you are this universe at every moment, because you see it starts now. Let's take the small view, first of all. The now is infinitely short, and yet it's the only thing that is. In that case, this whole world is an illusion. It doesn't really exist. Now, the other side of the matter is this, that this short now is an illusion of the clock. We make our second marks on clocks as thin as is consistent with visibility, and therefore we always think of the present as crossing the hairline. That's too long, see? How short can you get? See? But really the present isn't like that at all. There is nowhere else but now. Everything that happens is happening now. Time is money, we say. I don't have enough time. Time flies, time drags. And I think we should go into the question of what this is, because in our ordinary common sense, we think of time as a one-way motion from the past, through the present, and on into the future. You know, once upon a time it was fashionable in psychology for people to speak of man's and animals' instincts. That we have, for example, an instinct for survival, an instinct to make love, and so on. But nowadays that word has become unfashionable, and psychologists tend instead to use the word drives, and to speak of the need for food as a drive, the need for survival or for sex as drives. And that's a very significant word, because it's brought out, isn't it, by people who feel driven. The whole idea of our being driven is connected with the idea of causality, of life moving under the power of the past. When the moment of letting go comes, when we see that every moment of life is now it. In other words, the object of life is no longer seen as something to grasp after in the future. The experience at the basis of Zen can be demonstrated by ordinary everyday life. The art of washing dishes is that you only have to wash one at a time. If you're doing it day after day, you have in your mind's eye an enormous stack of filthy dishes which you have washed up in years past, and an enormous stack of filthy dishes which you will wash up in years future. But if you bring in your mind to the state of reality, which is, as I've pointed out to you, only now, this is where we are. There is only now. You only have to wash one dish. It's the only dish you'll ever have to wash, this one. Because in reality, there is no past and there is no future. There is just now. So you wash this one. And instead of thinking, have I got it really clean, as my mother taught me with an angry voice, that I had to get every little scrap of it, and she got, but instead, you turn the cleaning movement into a dance. Like this. And you dig that. And you swing that plate around, and you let the rinsing water go over it. You put it off in the rack. Crazy. See? Take the next one. You get this rhythm going. See? And you're not under compulsion all the time. That is to say, a creature who is vividly aware of the fact that his life moves, as it were, along a line from the past through the present and into the future. Animals apparently live pretty much moment by moment. We actually spend most of our time and a great deal of our emotional energy living in time which is not here, living in an elsewhere which is not concretely real. So much so that although we may be quite comfortable and happy in our present circumstances, if there is not a guarantee, not a promise of a good time coming tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, we are at once unhappy, even in the midst of pleasure and affluence. And so we develop a kind of chronic anxiety about time. We want to be sure more and more, because of our sensitivity to the feeling of time, we want to be sure more and more that our future is assured. And for this reason, the future becomes of more importance to most human beings than the present. My goodness, don't you remember when you went first to school? You went to kindergarten. And in kindergarten, the idea was to push along so that you could get into first grade, and then push along so that you could get into second grade, third grade, so on, going up and up. And then you went to high school, and this was a great transition in life. And now the pressure is being put on. You must get ahead. You must go up the grades and finally be good enough to get to college. And then when you get to college, you're still going step by step, up to the great moment in which you're ready to go out into the world. And then when you get out into this famous world comes the struggle for success in profession or business. And again, there seems to be a ladder before you, something for which you're reaching all the time. And then, suddenly, when you're about 40 or 45 years old in the middle of life, you wake up one day and say, I've arrived. And by Jove, I feel pretty much the same as I've always felt. In fact, I'm not so sure that I don't feel a little bit cheated. Because you see, you were fooled. You were always living for somewhere where you aren't. And while, as I said, it is of tremendous use for us to be able to look ahead in this way and to plan, there is no use planning for a future, which when you get to it and it becomes a present, you won't be there. You'll be living in some other future which hasn't yet arrived. And so in this way, one is never able actually to inherit and enjoy the fruits of one's action. You can't live at all unless you can live fully now. Gurdjieff used to set his students the exercise he called self-remembering. That is, constantly, all day long, be completely aware of what you're doing. Have your mind always on the immediate moment. Oh, and it's tough to do that. Till one fine day you realize, to your astonishment, there is no way at all of having your mind anywhere else but in the present. Because even when you think about the past or the future, you're doing it now, aren't you? And that results in a very curious transformation of consciousness. You feel that the present moment is flowing along and carrying you with it all the time. Just like the flow of the Tao. The flow of the Tao is what we would call the flow of the present.
Feeling sensitive? Aveeno Skin Relief soothes skin in 20 seconds. Let's see it in real.
Chris Cornell tragically passed away at age 52 on May 18, 2017. He left behind a legacy of music and a reputation for one of the most powerful vocal ranges in rock and roll history. Although known for his music, Cornell was also a true intellect, expressing thought-provoking ideas in both interviews and in his song lyrics.
My 5th birthday, actually, on my birthday, was the day that men first walked on the moon. That sort of became part of normal life. Like, wow, this is the world, this is life, this is living. Stuff like that happens, and then a guy goes to the moon, and then cool stuff. That's where we somehow managed to focus an incredible amount of resources and energy on useless stuff that doesn't mean anything, like following celebrities that are celebrities for the sake of being celebrities, and buying magazines that they're in, and spending hours of the day thinking about who they are and what they're doing, and what clothes they're wearing, and what songs they're listening to, and who gives a And by the same token, we're still sort of participating in a system that ecologically is slowly but surely destroying everything. And everyone can say that, everyone kind of knows that, even the naysayers sort of have to believe it at this point, but nothing's really changing. And that's all, it's just kind of a strange thing to me. I see sort of the simple truth in.
Ever wondered what it would be like to have a superpower? Imagine being able to look at someone and know exactly what they're thinking, feeling, or planning to do next. How different would your life be if you could understand people's true intentions or emotions and adjust your actions accordingly? Well, there was someone who mastered this art centuries ago, and his name was Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi wasn't just any samurai. He was a legend. But his legacy is not only about his swordsmanship. It's about his profound understanding of human nature, strategies, and the psychology behind conflicts. This is a man who didn't just fight battles. He read the hearts and minds of his opponents to emerge victorious. Today, we're diving into Musashi's world, not to learn how to wield a sword, but to unlock the secrets of reading people. Musashi wasn't just a samurai. He was something like a philosopher with a sword. His life, filled with duels, travels, and contemplation, led him to develop the Hyoho Niten Ichi Ryu, or the two-sword technique. But it wasn't just about fighting with two swords. It was a physical manifestation of his broader philosophy. This approach was all about flexibility, using everything at your disposal, and seeing things from multiple perspectives. It's a mindset that says, be ready for anything, and make the most of what you've got. Now you might think, that's great for a samurai, but what does it have to do with me? Well, Musashi's insights are surprisingly relevant today. The world we live in is complex and ever-changing. We're constantly facing challenges, making decisions, and interacting with people whose intentions aren't always clear. Musashi's focus on strategy, observation, and understanding the underlying motivations of others can help us navigate our modern world more effectively. Whether it's figuring out the best approach to a problem at work, understanding the needs of those around us, or simply making decisions that align with our deepest values, Musashi's philosophy provides a framework for deeper insight and effective action. So, as we delve into the core principles of Musashi's teachings, let's see how we can apply this timeless wisdom to better understand the actions, motivations, and intentions of people in our lives today.
One Hand online cash loan app. Try it now.
Yung nakikita, my Yum Burger. Dahil BVS, alam mo Yum, kahit maraming pagpipilian. Yum Burger ko to. Dahil BVS, alam mo Yum, choose only the BVS. Jollibee Yum Burger, alam mo Yum.
First up is Kyojitsu, the concept of truth and deception. Musashi knew the battlefield wasn't just about swords clashing, it was also a mind game. He could read his opponent's intentions, distinguishing between feints and real attacks. Imagine applying that to everyday life, seeing beyond the surface, reading between the lines of what people say and do. It's about noticing those little contradictions in body language, or in the tone of voice that hint at someone's true feelings or intentions. This skill can be a game changer in understanding the people around us, helping us navigate conversations and relationships with a bit more insight. Then, there's Ken no Sen, or seizing the initiative. Musashi wasn't one to sit back and react, he anticipated. By understanding his opponent's mindset and intentions, he could control the flow of the battle. Now think about using this in a negotiation or any competitive situation. It's about reading the room, picking up on cues that others are giving off about their plans or state of mind, and then using that knowledge to stay a step ahead. It's not about manipulation, it's about strategic anticipation, ensuring you're prepared for whatever comes next. Lastly, Mizu no Kokoro, the mind like water. This might be the most profound principle. Musashi believed in maintaining a calm, adaptable mind, which allowed him to read
read situations and people accurately without his judgments being clouded by emotion or bias. This mental flexibility lets us see the true intentions and emotions of others, even in heated or high-pressure situations. It's about staying calm, observant, and responsive, qualities that are invaluable whether we're in a tough discussion, making difficult decisions, or just trying to understand someone better. These principles from Musashi's life are not just philosophical musings, they're practical tools. By learning to discern truth from deception, anticipate others' actions, and maintain a calm, adaptable mindset, we can navigate our interactions and relationships with a deeper understanding and clarity. It's about applying centuries-old wisdom to modern-day challenges, discovering that, perhaps, understanding the art of reading others is one of the most powerful skills we can develop in a world that's more connected and complex than ever. Musashi wasn't just about big ideas. He was all about putting those ideas into action. So how do we take these ancient strategies and use them in our everyday lives? Let's break it down. First, we've got active observation.